What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adobe Photoshop Masterclass course. We are continuing on with the good old-fashioned section that we're in right now, but we're gonna walk through color management. This is something that I want to end off our section with, and color management is something that's very important. So, if, for example, this was some sort of template right here or something like that, and we didn't want the black, right? Totally acceptable. Maybe this didn't pop against our, our background nice enough. We actually can, at all times, change the color because this is a shape. So shapes remain changeable, whereas, for example, something like this, a custom shape, it hasn't stayed in the shape sort of layer, which means that it is customizable, but just slightly differently. So, for example, a shape, color customizable, they remain customizable by the top properties of the shape. So, for example, at all times, once you've created your shape, as long as it has this little shape option next to it, we're dealing with something that's customizable. We can go up here, get our colors, change them around, and they, color management wise, they retain full customization. Now, an object like this, a custom shape, does not retain full customization. If we go up here and change the color to, for example, red, nothing happens. The reason is because we're actually just changing the color of the shape tool, right? So that's great. If we draw a shape, it'll be red. Wonderful. However, that right there, it doesn't help us manage our colors of our custom object. So the way we do that is we would use the paint bucket tool. So it helps if the object is all one specific color. In fact, it doesn't just help, it makes it actually doable. But if your object is all one specific color, for example, say we wanted to make it red as well, we could get the paint dropper tool, paint bucket tool, and click on our object. And it would actually change whatever the clicked color is to whatever the color that we've set down here is. And these are our colors down here. This one, red, is our primary, and the white is a secondary. Now, at any time, we can reset them by clicking the black and white sort of squares right there, which resets it to its absolute basic form. Wonderful. However, usually you'll be paying attention mainly to the primary color because it is the sort of sole thing which is going to be used as a reference when creating different stuff. So, for example, when we created our, shapes, the color was black, right? So, boom, it created it out of black. But if the primary color is, for example, let's say blue, when we go over to our actual shape, it's going to reflect whatever the primary color is, right? Likewise, our actual paint bucket tool, it's going to paint it whatever the primary color is. So it's very important to keep a track on what your color down here is, especially when you're doing various different edits, because it is going to be very important when it actually does come around to, at the end of the day, it's an easy adjustment to make, but it's something you want to keep an eye on, all right? So the primary color and the secondary color. Now, the secondary color rarely becomes something that's too, something you got to keep an eye on too much. It really comes into play when you are actually doing a gradient. A gradient, if we click and hold, is something that's totally an option as well. For example, we can click and drag up, and just like that, we have a gradient. Now, what a gradient is it goes from primary color to secondary color. It goes from color A to color B, right? So more or less what we want to do is if we are creating a gradient, we want to keep track of this, all right? I'm actually going to press Control-Z, undo that. And as we see, if we create a brand new layer, if we are doing a gradient and our secondary color is white, obviously it's going to go from primary to secondary. So, hypothetically speaking, if we wanted to go from blue to, let's say, dark blue, we wanted to still have that kind of blue gradient, all we do is we change the secondary color and the primary color would stay the same. And just like that, it's going to go from the primary to the secondary. However big of a line you go over is going to be how much of a spread there is. So gradient tool is something definitely that's useful, and it's something that directly responds to your secondary and your primary color. Alternatively, a cool way to grab a color, say that these were, say that we didn't change these colors to what they are, and we wanted to, set something up. Or for example, say we're over here actually, right? And we wanted to maybe do some sort of cool effect where we've got, the same color text title in the background as we have as my hoodie. We could literally go ahead and use the eyedropper tool. So let me create the text first. I'm gonna call this title number 1. And because of the great work that we've done using the all selection of the mask tool, we know that we've got this section back here where we can put stuff in, because we've got our selection above it, which means that we can put stuff in and sort of make it look like it's behind it. Now, if we wanted to match these colors, a great tool is the eyedropper tool. So all we do to use that is select our text, go up here to the color, and actually come down here, and it actually enables our eyedropper whenever we go off of the off of the screen, and we can click on purple, and just like that, oh, I undid it. We can click on purple, and just like that, we have a title that directly responds and directly mimics the colors of the other objects that we have in here, making it sort of just work together nicely. That would be a perfect YouTube thumbnail, and it would be a perfect sort of banner image or something like that for, some sort of graphic. At the end of the day, that right there is the color management section done and dusted. We're going to keep cracking. The stuff coming up next, guys, is the real nitty and gritty. We covered all the basics, the walkthrough. I 100% hope you're with me right now with a basic understanding of the program so far. Now is where we really turn it up a notch. Fasten your seatbelts, so to speak. Let's get started.